All right, guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man, Jay Will. So this is the Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus, about 72 hours with it, and I'm going to talk about some things in it in this video that I've noticed since having it in the 3 days. I'm sure some of these things might improve later, or updates will come later, but the phone overall is somewhat of a complete package. Samsung does a great job with putting together devices. I mean, they have great hardware. Their screens are unmatched by so many other phones. It's ridiculous. I have yet to get my hands on the Sony 4K display, and I'm hoping to bring that in soon. I'm just kind of waiting to see if they're going to bring another version of it. And if they do, then I'll probably grab that version. If not, I don't know. I just need to get a phone with a 4K display to really to put it against this phone to see if it actually is any difference. Or my Note 8 or whatever, to see if it's just Samsung phones in general have fantastic displays, and this one is no exception. So it has a 6.2-inch Quad HD Super AMOLED display, which is absolutely great. I mean, the color reproduction when you're watching videos, doing anything on this phone is absolutely fantastic. It has a Snapdragon 845, which is the latest processor from Qualcomm. How's it running? Phone runs smooth. I don't have any issues with it. It's running on Oreo. It does have a 3,500 milliamp hour battery inside. I'll talk about that in a little bit. 6 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs onboard storage, iris scanner, fingerprint reader, facial recognition, heart rate monitor, wireless charging, fast charging, headphone jack, dual speakers, dual 12 megapixel with a dual aperture. I mean, it's just got everything a person could probably want. But that price is $840, and a lot of you guys might disagree with that. Personally, I feel like it's a solid price. When I compare it to something like the Pixel XL2, I would definitely probably take this over the Pixel XL2 in a heartbeat. I just like the look of it a lot better. I just think it's a good-looking phone and definitely performs really good. I know the screen is probably definitely better too. But nonetheless, all those specs aside, how's the phone actually performing? It's doing great. I haven't had any hiccups. Only thing I have a problem with is Twitter, but I've been complaining about the Twitter application on Android for weeks now. Something's wrong with the Twitter application on Android. If you try to post, sometimes it doesn't post. And, I reached out to Twitter, fixes are coming and all that stuff. So it's not this phone. If you're having trouble with Twitter, it's probably not this phone, because several of my Android phones, the Twitter app is just jacked up. I don't know what's going on with it, but other than that, I could just use the browser to post sometimes. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but that's not anything bad. But, the price might be a factor to some people. But first things first, battery life on this thing, I'm able to pull down a full day, like literally it'll stay off the charger for 24 hours. And then, I have to put it on the charger at that point. But of that, I'm not getting more than 5 hours of screen on time. And the reason I don't think that's good, because this has a bigger battery than my Galaxy Note 8. And my Galaxy Note 8 is running like a champ, man. I mean, this thing flies. I get day and a half battery sometimes. I get well over 5.5, 6 hours of screen on time. It's just rocking out. It's rolling along. So my Note 8 is doing really good. I guess it's optimized, better. I don't know at this point, because they both have 6 gigs of RAM. But this has a Snapdragon 845. So maybe it's just because it's new that I'm not getting the best battery. But we shall see later on, because I'll tell you in follow-up videos how the battery's doing. But for now, I don't think that's good battery with a 3,500 milliamp hour battery. And it's Snapdragon 845 is supposed to be very efficient, and that big battery is supposed to help. So it's not doing too good to me right now. I don't accept that battery life, but hey, what can I do? The next thing is, I've talked about this in another video, is being limited to 5 minutes when recording on 4K at 60 FPS. I would do all my videos with this phone if I could get the footage longer, if I can get a longer time. Some people speculated and say, oh, it's for overheating. That's just not, they definitely have it dialed back because they might be afraid of what happened with the Note 7. But this phone right here, it's great. I can do 4K, like lots of 4K recording, but on other phones like the iPhone 10, obviously my iPhone 8 Plus, those record unlimited, and I don't have any issues with those when it comes to recording 4K at 60 FPS. But this one, you get 5 minutes and that's it. And it shuts off. There's no warning. It just shuts off. So 5 minutes is definitely a disappointment to have to shoot at 4K at 60 FPS. Even 1080p at 60 frames per second, you only get 10 minutes. Like, I don't get it, man. Even the U11 does 6 minutes at 4K at 30 frames per second. I thought that was bad. But some phones, the manufacturers just aren't, they're just limiting it for whatever reason, and I don't get it. Not all Android phones are limited to 5 to 10 minutes when you're doing 4K at 30 frames per second, but this one has 60 frames per second, and it's a bummer for me. That might not be an issue for you, but I would love to record a lot of my videos on the channel with this phone compared to the DSLR, because I think this produces a lot better footage, with that 60 FPS at 4K. Come on. I don't have any DSLRs that can do that, or DSLRs that can do that. So another gripe that I had is it's not really it's kind of something that, I pretty much have to keep a case on this thing until I get like a clear skin, because I don't want to cover up this color. But I've been rocking out with these two cases right here, the Rinky and the Sub case. These have been my two favorite cases for this phone. It's a slippery phone, man. Even though the sides are now matte, the phone is slippery. It's just, and so you gotta get some kind of skin or a case on it or something. That's just what it is. But overall, I hope Samsung comes with an update later on the camera to extend that recording time for 4K FPS at 60 frames. That would be super helpful. So I won't drag this out any longer. It's been about 6 minutes. But, overall, folks, other than those things that I said that I was kind of disappointed in, this phone is killer. It's a major win for those that are looking to get into Samsung devices. And would I tell you to pick it up over the Note 8? Probably, if you say you want the best camera and you want the latest design and things like that. This has the latest design. If you wanted that different position for the fingerprint reader, there's a few reasons I would tell you to pick this up over the Note 8. But, the Note 8 is a phone that I prefer over the S9 Plus at the moment, just because of the S Pen suite and some of the things I can do with and you get a much bigger, well, it seems like that it's not a big difference. But this is, to me, it seems like it's a big difference in screen display, because they're saying this is 6.2, but they say it actually measures out at 6.1. So that's something to consider when you're thinking about buying this. I'm going to try to put the same wallpaper on this phone right here so you can kind of see what I'm talking about, because this phone it's good. The display is good. However, it seems like I just lose a little bit of real estate compared to the Note 8. Obviously the Note 8 is 6.3 inches. However, here we go. I found this picture. Let me pause real quick. Okay, so here's the photo on both. So you see what I mean? It just looks like, they're saying this is 6.2, but I think somewhere I read on their site where it's actually measuring out at 6.1 diagonally. So nonetheless, the Note 8 still, to me, is superior, but the cameras on this thing are better than the Note 8 in my experience, and my opinion. So, I'll compare those two later on, so stick around for that. But this is a freaking awesome phone, man. It's I don't have very many complaints about it at all, except for the few that I named. I hate now that my muscle memory is kicked in, and I'm now touching in the right spot for the fingerprint reader. And this has been my case of choice here lately, this Rinky case, until I decide whether or not I want to get a skin or not. But, this phone feels really good. It feels a little bit better in the hand than the Note, obviously, because it's a little bit smaller. But, I wouldn't tell you to dump your Note 8 for the Galaxy S9 Plus. I've said that already. So, here's what it is. So, $840 gets you this. And if you have a Galaxy S8 Plus or Galaxy S8, I've said it multiple times. You don't really need to upgrade to this unless your phone is damaged or something, or you just have to get it. But if you have a S6 on down or S7, definitely jump to this. I would recommend it all day, for sure. So I have a full review up on this. I'll have more videos on this, comparisons and things like that. So stay tuned for that. Until then, it's your man Jay Will. 72 hours with this thing. It is a very solid and very capable phone, for sure. And personally, I think it's worth the $840 that I paid. It's a good look. I could use this as a daily driver if I didn't have the Galaxy Note 8, for sure. I mean, I'm using it as a daily driver now, but if I didn't have either one of these, or I guess if I didn't have this will be my phone of choice. So it's your man Jay Will. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.